Alrighty then, I'm making the simplest meal ever, which is going to be Salisbury steaks with ground beef, onions, and mushrooms. But I have 2.5 pounds of ground beef, so I have this divided. This will be going for my onion and mushroom gravy that I'll be making. The rest of this I will freeze, and it is very easy to freeze in your sucky bags. Never gets freezer burn, could not be easier. But I'm also gonna put some chopped mushrooms in with the ground beef. So I'm starting out with 2 eggs. I'm gonna add my ground beef, basic stuff, salt, pepper, Lowry seasoned salt. I put a little of my own Cajun seasoning in there, garlic powder. It's not rocket science. So this will be used for my gravy. This will be going into that bowl, also with a can of cream of mushroom soup. What's this here sauce? And you gotta have some breadcrumbs to hold it all together. It is not hard. It is a great meal with mashed potatoes and say mixed vegetables on the side. And it's a beautiful meal, but the gravy is where it's at. So I'm gonna get to mixing. So just season with the spices you like, but again, I've got 2.5 pounds. Garlic powder. What's this here sauce? Some people put A1 steak sauce in it. I don't care for that. Some seasoned salt. And I'm gonna get some salt and pepper. Just remember, I'm already gonna have chopped onions in it. I'm going to get my chopped onions in here. Ooh, that's a powerful onion. Sorry, I rocked you. You got bonked. Move this. And I want to get my chopped mushrooms in here. I may need to add another egg. I don't know, but you just sort of figure it out as you go along. But I'm definitely going to mix this by hand first. Then I'm going to add my cream of mushroom soup and then see how many of my home dehydrated breadcrumbs I need. It's not hard, just make it a big, giant, fat, great tasting hamburger patty. Or you can make them like a long little square, but I like them to look like a hamburger patty because it's Salisbury steak, which is a hamburger patty, just tastes 10 times better. It does not look like I need another egg in this, but I definitely need to put some of my cream of mushroom soup. Oh, that meat is cold. All right. And we'll start with some breadcrumbs. There's nothing worse than trying to cook you up some Salisbury steak hamburger-shaped patties and they start falling apart in the skillet. I've had it happen. It was still good, but it was messy looking. So if we can make it cute, let's make it cute. Oh yeah. Some more. Some people add ketchup in this. I don't do that. I put ketchup on top of a meatloaf when I bake it. All right, I'm gonna get this worked up a little bit more. Ah, what a mess. Gotta touch it with my funky glove hand. So now we're gonna get messy. I spray my hands with a little bit of olive oil, and I've got a waxed paper set out here, and we're gonna form these into some burger sizes. That'll help keep it from sticking to my hand. That's not very big. You can also, this is ideal for food storage, use your freeze-dried or your dehydrated mushrooms in this, as well as your dehydrated onions if you wanted to. So there I've got myself a patty. You can see some of the mushrooms. I'm gonna do 4 for tonight with the gravy, mushroom and onion gravy. And then I'm gonna freezer bank the rest so I can pull them out anytime I want them. I'm not good at getting them all uniform, but I don't really sweat it. I'm not doing a food photo shoot here of just a mouse that cooks a lot. Because I'm hungry. Because that's a Louisiana thing. May not have had a whole lot, but we sure had good food. Had everything we needed, not much that you wanted. Just pinching off little pieces. 2 adults. So I'll keep doing this. You do something more productive and a lot more interesting and a lot messier. A lot less messy. Geesh. English is my primary language, struggling with it today. I'm going to touch you with my icky finger and then have to sterilize my camera. All right, camera has been sterilized. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. So I'm going to cook 4, and then I'm going to freeze 2 packages of 4 in my sucky bag, also known as the food saver, because I have never had anything go freezer burned if I don't let anything puncture the bag, which occasionally my husband does in digging through my chest freezer, like the gorilla he is. Okay, so I tend to find a way to secret them away from the dangerous gorilla, and we'll go ahead and get started making 4 Salisbury steaks. I have 1 small one here, which is fine for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this cast iron high-sided skillet hot. I'm going to put a small amount of oil in here. You could use a tiny amount of butter if you want. But remember, this ground beef will put off a lot of grease, and that will be part of our gravy. And my drippings will not stick to the bottom of this. I don't know how much Mahone canned beef broth I will add. So I will have what I think I'll need, 1 pint here. So I'm going to brown these Salisbury steaks in the shape of a hamburger. I'm going to brown them very well on both sides. Then I'm going to remove them. I'm going to add some flour to this after I get my onions sauteed with my mushrooms. So it's not rocket science. We're just making Salisbury steak. It is not hard, and it is a meal really everyone likes. So we want to make sure this skillet is hot when we put them in, and we hear that little sizzle. And remember, this is not great ground beef. It does have fat in it. It's going to make a great deal of flavorful oil for us for the base of our gravy. So this is what you would do with the ones that you froze. You would defrost them when you came home from work. Then you would make sure they're defrosted completely, and this is where you'd start with those. And it'll take no time at all to have Salisbury steak with gravy with onion and mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, don't add them, but this is an ideal food storage meal. You do have to have some frozen ground beef, right, that you would defrost. You cannot use your home canned ground beef for this, but the onions, I could use my dehydrated or my Thrive. And the mushrooms, I could use my dehydrated, or now I prefer the Thrive. I think they're freeze-dried mushrooms. So I'm going to brown these real well, and again, it's not going to gather on the bottom of this cast iron skillet. It just won't stick to it. Also, do not smash your Salisbury steaks or your hamburger shapes down to let any of that moisture that's in there out. You just want to make sure they're not sticking to the bottom. Because again, we're just going to get a really good brown on them. We're not going to cook them all the way through. Then we're going to set up, saute our onions and our mushrooms, add some flour, some beef broth for our gravy, and then we're going to set these back in there to finish cooking. It ain't hard. It's cooking Salisbury steak, which is a hamburger patty with some stuff in it. Makes everybody happy. So the small one I have turned. But we definitely want them very well browned. This one's nice. Still ain't hard, is it? Some onions are going to fall out of it. Ain't hurting nothing. They are very brown on both sides. They've let out some good oil. They're starting to pop around. So I'm going to remove them. They are not cooked through. Got the fan on right above your head, And these mushrooms were filthy. I had to really scrub them with my mushroom brush and actually run them under water to clean them. I don't want to eat dirt, which is what mushrooms grow in. And the only thing right now that I have left to clean is that chopping block I just moved these off with. Not bad, easy cleanup. And the mess was just from making them. And of course the bowl, the chopping board for the mushrooms, I don't like to do them on same board that I do my onions. So I'm gonna get these good and brown. I'll bring you back then. These are baby Bella mushrooms. Oh my goodness, they might have been dirty and difficult to clean, but goodness gracious, what a fabulous smell they have. So you could let this burn right now. You could let your onions burn. Don't do that. Don't mess up something this easy. It's gonna take you about 10 minutes to get the onions where you want them to be. They will be delicious. So I'm just going to keep moving them around. I have not added any more oil, as you can see. But boy, you can smell that those patties were in here. And I have the fan on right above your head, so it's a little loud. But that beats my smoke alarm going off. Ooh-wee, I snuck one of those Bella mushrooms. Goodness gracious. Ooh, they were good. So now I'm just going to take a regular soup spoon for my everyday knife and fork set. I'm gonna make a big rounded, about 2 of them to start with. If I need to thicken this gravy later, what I'll use is cornstarch and water. So I'm gonna get all, well, it's not a lot, of this grease off the bottom. It's one reason I love this pan, is I'm not trying to scrape up the drippings. Oh, this is going to be good. So I'm going to move this around for a couple seconds till I can't see the white of the flour, and then we are going to add some of our beef broth. If you don't have beef broth, you can use chicken. You can certainly use commercially canned. All right, so our flour is not so evident, and it's going to make a little noise because this pan's hot. I'm going to do about 1/2 of my pint. Oh yeah, that's warm. Oh, the smell is so lovely. And I will tell you, I make a beef broth that make you want to slap somebody. When you can roast those bones, I get it going in 2 crock pots overnight. Now notice how thick it is. Okay, so that was 1/2 of our pint. So we're gonna use the whole pint. If I need to open another one, I have it. But don't just use water. You want something with some depth of flavor. If you were using a beef bouillon, don't have added any salt to anything, or it'll be overwhelming with a salt taste. I do not put, if you noticed, any garlic in this. If you did, you would do it when the onions were the consistency that you wanted, and you would move it around for no more than a minute, because garlic burned is not pleasant at all. Oh, get out of town. All right, so let's get a burger back in here. Get my hands working. Remember, these are not cooked. They're gonna cook in this. Just my little one, and I kind of move the onions and mushrooms out of the way. Snuggle them up in there. Now, this is where you want a covered pot. So even if you chose to use a cast iron skillet, you could even put a pizza plate or pan over it. So I'm gonna turn this down between low and medium, keep it at a slow simmer, and then I'll bring you back after that. But I don't want them completely covered in this. They're submerged about halfway, and they're going to continue to release some grease from them, which will be very flavorful. It's not hard. It's Salisbury steak, which is just fancy little stuffed hamburger. And remember, you can really stretch burger meat. I did a lot of breadcrumbs to help it hold together. You could put bread soaked in milk in it, and that's how our parents did it when we were younger, was get a tube of Winn-Dixie ground beef, which was terrible and greasy, and add a lot of seasonings to it and a lot of breadcrumbs. So I'm gonna let these simmer, and we'll come back, and then we'll have Salisbury steak. Oh yeah. Notice it's a low simmer here. So there's my cover. I like when I have one that is glass or see-through, and I'm not gonna be opening it anytime soon. I have taken my Salisbury steaks out. This is not as thick as I wanted, so I'm gonna add a little cornstarch and water right in that little pint jar I used of my beef stock. And holy smokes, does this have a fabulous flavor. I'm just gonna turn this up to a medium. It's nice and boiling. Oh, the flavor of this onion and mushroom in that broth is just fantastic. Let's get it back up to a low bubbly. There it is. Because I've opened an actual envelope like the Idahoan. In this case, I'm using a loaded baked because I don't have enough potatoes to make real mashed potatoes. But I'm very happy with the Idahoans. Idahoan. A wee bit more. We are some freaks for some gravy. So this was not hard. We didn't burn anything. Don't be in a hurry. And you too can make a beautiful Salisbury steak with a groovin' onion and mushroom gravy. So I'm just gonna make a plate for myself with that tiny one, some mashed potatoes and this gravy, and then my husband's making us a side salad, but this way you can see what it looks like. Oh yeah. Gosh. This is too groovy to be true. Turn that off. So here is my tiny fatty McNatty Salisbury steak. Oh, pretty inside. And here is my righteous gravy that I'm gonna try on my fully baked potato. Oh yeah. Rocked it. I'm telling you, when your beef broth is spot on, wowzer. Oh yeah. I am a happy mouse. And these Bella mushrooms were worth the dirt cleaning. I brushed them with my mushroom brush, had to run them under water, let them dry. And it is in that gravy. Oh yeah. Salisbury steak. If I can do it, you can do it. Ain't nothing but a mouse that cooks. An old mouse at that.